Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. Hey, baby, how are ya?
Hey, I'm all right. How are you?
Well, fantastic. It's a weekend. How could you be anything but awesome? Got a lot of great stuff to talk about today. We'll be getting to all of that here. Imagine walking into a kitchen, flipping on a light, and automatically being able to see what's in the fridge without even opening the door. Inventor Bruce Lampert developed a refrigerator with a mirror as the door. But when you turn the light on, you can actually see inside the refrigerator.
That's cool.
That is very cool. His purpose for the invention, he says, 1, it saves energy. 2, it encourages dieting because people can see their reflection when they walk up to the refrigerator. That is such a good idea.
That's a very good idea.
When I was a kid, my dad said he was going to do that. He always said, I'm going to put a window in that thing so you can see what's in there, because we'd always stand there with the door open on the refrigerator. So, Dad, you were ahead of your time, my friend. Again, Bruce Lampert is the inventor of this thing. It sounds like a neat idea.
That's an awesome idea. I'd love to have one.
Well, there you go. Maybe when we get our next refrigerator, we'll get one of those. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. You know what today is?
What is today, John?
Well, this whole darn weekend is special. Saturday, June 4th, is Amateur Radio Military Appreciation Day. It is Audacity to Hope Day on Saturday, Doo-Dah Parade Day, Drawing Day, Pencil Day, International Day of Innocent Children Victims of Aggression, Old Maids Day, National Prairie Day, National Trails Day, the Wicked World of Croquet Day, and Turtle Races Day. That's all Saturday. Then Sunday, Children's Awareness Memorial Day, Festival of Popular Delusions Day, Hot Air Balloon Day, National Moonshine Day, National World Environment Day, National Cancer Survivors Day, and it's also, Sunday, is Apple II Day. So there you go. All of that stuff going on this weekend. So if you're bored and you got nothing to celebrate, we must be doing something wrong. There's a ton of stuff to celebrate this weekend. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Whether you're an experienced shooter or someone new to self-defense, Front Sight Firearms Training Institute has a course for you. You may recognize Front Sight from their reality TV show filmed at this private range 45 minutes west of Las Vegas. A Diamond Lifetime membership is $15,000, but we have a special price of just $3,000 available now only at radiosavings.com. This lifetime membership allows you to take over 50 courses as often as you'd like at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute. Get this deal right now at radiosavings.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. It sounds like a joke, but it's not. 3 theologians representing Jesus Christ sued the Protestant and Roman Catholic churches.
What?
For bringing his name into disrepute. And they lost. This happened in Germany, in a German courtroom. The theologians, calling themselves, quote, brothers in spirit of Christ, they sued under a law that lets people defend their dead relatives' reputations. And there's a law on the books in Germany that lets you do that. They argued that the church's role in wars has disqualified them from calling themselves Christians. The judge threw out the case on the grounds that the German constituents guaranteed religious freedom, but not before he pointed out that since Christians believed Christ rose from the dead, his brother, the brothers that were suing, have no right to bring a case on his behalf because
if he wanted to, he could do it himself.
The law specifies that you can only sue if your relative is dead and your relative came back to life. He is not dead. So they're saying the judge threw it out on those grounds. He's like, this is ridiculous. Quit wasting my time.
That's right.
I don't understand what they were trying to do, but some theologians thought that they would make their day in court. And
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. So I don't understand this law that they have where you can sue somebody for defaming your dead relative. I'm wondering.
I could see that, though. You wouldn't want somebody out there saying all sorts of bad things about a relative of yours that had passed on. It's like, come on, have some respect. It's called respect for the deceased.
Yeah, that is. So there you go. That happened, and it happened in Germany. And you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. Remember what Bugs Bunny always used to say? Nah, what's up, Doc?
Yeah.
Well, what's up is the part that this guy said. In Des Moines, an Iowa police officer, Patrick Hickey, was checking license plates in an alley as part of a recent drug investigation when a man said, "Hey, what's up?" Hickey responded by saying, "What's up?" The man asked Hickey the same question again. Said, "What's up?" And then the man said, "I'll show you what's up." He ran into a home and came back out with a .38 caliber gun, thinking that he apparently had been on some of the drugs that he was trying to sell.
Whoa.
Hickey showed the man his badge and then pulled out his gun, to which the man decided, okay, I'm going to just lay my gun down. Stuart Jenkins was the man. He was wanted in Michigan, where he was on parole for assault and drug charges. Guess what?
Imagine that.
He's back in jail, and that is what's up. There you go. That's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
A woman lives a nightmare while trying to find Mr. Right. This happened in Gloucester, England. I don't know if I said the name right, but it just sounds like a beautiful place. She's suing a dating agency for sending her on 8 terrible dates with men that were exactly the opposite of what she requested. 49-year-old Janet Fors is suing New Horizons agency, and it was started by a former car salesman. He came up with this dating site and this dating service, and she told the newspaper she specifically told that this gentleman that had the agency that she wanted a rugged professional man who owned his home and did not smoke. And then she paid him $470 for a 1-year membership. So far, he has sent her out with a chain-smoking truck driver who lives in a trailer, a nervous, unshaven carpenter, a married man
Oh, my gosh.
who is an engineer and wanted secrecy, and one who sounded quite promising during their first phone call. And then he called back twice before the date, drunk as a skunk.
Nice.
And now when she reached out to the gentleman that set up these dates, he said, no, he wasn't drunk. He just has a speech impediment.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. Don't we all when we're drunk? Anyway, she's looking for Mr. Right, and it kind of sounds like she found a lot of Mr. Wrongs.
The scoop of the day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. Cosmopolitan reports 20% of women say technology makes it harder to communicate face-to-face. Do you think that's true?
Not for me, but I think for kids it does.
Oh, yeah. I see them always looking at their phones. We just had a sleepover at our house, and our daughter and the friend were sitting on the same bed on the phones. And I was like, are you guys, you're not talking to each other,
Why
are
do you even need to have somebody over? You're not going to talk to them anyway.
You just put the phones down, look each other in the face, and start talking. It's not that hard.
ridiculous.
The Ann Arbor News crime column reported the man walked into a Burger King in Michigan at 12:50 a.m., flashed a gun, and demanded cash. The clerk turned him down because she said, I can't open the register without an order. The man then ordered onion rings. The clerk said, those are not available for breakfast. Sir, it's 12:50 a.m. The man got frustrated and walked away. Senior citizens often find it hard for people to take them seriously when they opt for behaviors or lifestyles that don't fit into our perception of the golden years. So it's easy to sympathize with elderly female bank robber who had to fire 4 shots in the air to finally get a German teller to take her demand for cash seriously. Police say a 65-year-old woman was tired of making ends meet on her pension, so she pulled a stocking over her face, grabbed a gun, and pulled a stick up. The teller was laughing, thinking it was a joke because it was a little old lady. She refused to take her seriously until she finally pumped 4 rounds into the ceiling. And then she finally got her $15,000 in cash. Unfortunately, the car the woman was driving as a getaway car could not outrun the police. It was a little old lady being chased by the police. She was arrested just a few blocks from the bank. So, a little old lady with a stocking on her head, fleeing the scene of a bank robbery that she was the robber. That's awful.
Oh, that's too bad.
While robbing an apartment building, Kenneth Bartleson got his brother to be his lookout to avoid being caught. The only problem, his brother didn't really possess the right stuff to be the lookout guy, considering he's blind.
Oh,
A building resident who saw the two leaving the apartment became suspicious, called police, then waited in front of the building for them to arrive. Eugene, who can only see shadows, mistook the resident for his brother and was standing next to him when the officers drove up. Both men were charged with attempted robbery. So that wasn't the brightest thing to do. And I know we quit doing our strange law, but I found another good one here. In Alabama, it is illegal to operate any vehicle while blindfolded.
Well,
Shouldn't
of course.
that be the law
should be everywhere.
everywhere? Apparently it's not, though. There you go. That is your strange law. This has been your scoop of the day. We've got a second scoop on the way.
John and Heidi.
This has been quite an election so far, and we've got a long ways to go. Stay informed at politicalstorm.com. It's a cool site with political news and information on the campaigns, plus a place to chime in and have a say in what you think. If you're into politics, you need to check out politicalstorm.com. Get informed from several different sources all in one place. Listen to podcasts like mine and learn about current election topics, read fun editorials, and engage your brain. It's your country. It's your vote. It's your voice. Politicalstorm.com. That's politicalstorm.com.
John and Heidi.
We've got our second scoop of the day, and since it is a weekend, I've got a couple of different stories that are a little bit of the religious nature, and I thought, you know what, let's use those for our weekend second scoop, because I think this is a good place for it. North Carolina State University is requiring a Christian group to obtain a permit before speaking to other students on campus. According to a report in the Christian Headlines website, Grace Christian Life, a student group registered at North Carolina State, has filed a lawsuit against the school alleging that the school discriminated against them by requiring them to obtain a permit and restricting their free speech rights in September of 2015. The group told that they had to stop approaching students in order to engage in religious discussions unless they obtained a permit to do so. Alliance Defending Freedom also says Christian groups have been singled out by the university, which did not target other groups. So they're saying this has only happened to Christian groups, and this didn't happen to the other groups on that university's campus. So it'll be interesting to see how that all goes. Like I said, I got a couple of them here that are of the religious nature. A Chinese church has won a land dispute with the government in China, but only after the pastor's wife was killed by a bulldozer while authorities tried to demolish the church. How awful is that?
Oh, my gosh.
This happened in China. According to Christian Headlines, the pastor's wife and her husband were pushed into a pit by a bulldozer and covered with soil as they were protesting the government-enforced demolition of their church building. The pastor was able to escape, but his wife was suffocated under the dirt.
My God.
Now, amidst public outcry over Ding's death, that was her last name, Ding, the government has ruled that the church does have the rights to the land on which their church is built. Human rights officials say the ruling is a huge step in the right direction, but there are still concerns about the government's abuse of human rights. So they're saying that, this is not over by any means, but at least it's a page in the right direction of hopefully a nice conclusion there. So that's awful. Can you imagine that? Now,
I wonder if she was Long Duck Dong's mother.
no, this is Ding, not Dong.
Ding dong.
Oh. That was such a nice, heartfelt story. My
That
wife.
was not a heartfelt story. That was a tragic story.
It was.
I'm trying
and
to
it's
lighten
even-
the mood.
It was even worse. And like I said, so for our second scoop here, I had several stories this week that were of the religious nature, and I thought I'm going to save these for our weekend edition because I always get that second scoop, and this is a good one here too. Almost a quarter of the 100 most popular Bible verses searched for on the internet last year came from the same book in the Bible. Do you know which book that would be? Almost a quarter of them came from this book.
Psalms.
Yes, Psalms. Good job. Hey, high five on that.
Yeah.
Good job. Psalms is my second favorite book in the Bible. Do you know what my favorite book is?
What's that?
Proverbs.
Ah.
I love Proverbs. I mean, I could just sit down and read that, and you can flip open anywhere in Proverbs and read anything, and somehow it applies to my life. It's just awesome.
Same thing with Psalms, though.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's probably why they're so popular. So almost a quarter of the 100 most popular Bible verses searched for on the internet in 2015 came from Psalms. According to Bible Gateway, that is says leading the way at number 5 was Psalms 5. No, let me try that again. Psalms, what am I saying here? Leading the way at number 5 was Psalms 23:4. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. You are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. In fact, Psalms was the most popular book of the Bible for every reader for the last couple of years now. So it's always been up there.
There you go.
So was that number 1 or was that number 5? I'm a little confused. Tell you what, if you've got time and you want to read that, I'm going to throw a link to that whole story at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. That's going to do it for your second scoop on the weekend edition of the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Do you buy lottery tickets? Maybe you wait till the jackpot is big, then you buy one. I was like that too. Like my odds get better because the jackpot was more. Well, I think I found something that actually will give me a better chance to win. It's called Lotto-licious. I learned about this from Richard Lustig. He literally wrote the book on how to win the lottery, and he should know. He's a 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Richard plays and endorses Lotto-licious, and I just signed up too. I'd love it if you join Richard and I. You can play Powerball and Mega Millions without even going to the store. Sign up right now at RadioLottopool.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
There are an average 144 typhoons and hurricanes every year. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
In France, strawberries were cultivated in the 13th century to be used as medicinal herbs.
Ah.
Yeah. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The biggest known star is 2,000 times bigger than the sun. The sun is big. 2,000 times
That's
bigger
crazy.
is the biggest star that we know of. Speaking of stars, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The smallest telescope available at your local discount store, like go to a Walmart, Target, whoever, wherever, find look at the little tiny telescope you're going to find there. Believe it or not, that is more powerful than the telescope that Galileo used to discover various parts of our solar system.
Oh.
So you can go buy one like for a couple of bucks at a store, and that's more powerful than his telescope.
That's pretty cool.
And our final fun fact for you, and Heidi's going to like this one. Charlie Chaplin was left-handed.
Ah.
She did a report on Charlie
did.
Chaplin in high school, and she remembers it very vividly.
I do.
What is your favorite thing from that report that you did?
He once entered his own look-alike contest and lost. I think that is absolutely fascinating.
That is fascinating. And it's fascinating how excited you are because that's the only homework she ever did.
It's the only homework I ever did, and it's definitely the only thing I ever remember from school.
All right. Coming up, we're going to talk about how to deal with a bad boss. That's on the way.
Whether you're an experienced shooter or someone new to self-defense, Front Sight Firearms Training Institute has a course for you. You may recognize Front Sight from their reality TV show filmed at this private range 45 minutes west of Las Vegas. A diamond lifetime membership is $15,000, but we have a special price of just $3,000 available now only at radiosavings.com. This lifetime membership allows you to take over 50 courses as often as you'd like at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute. Get this deal right now at radiosavings.com.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. Okay, I've got this story here, but I'm going to tell you where it comes from. So just use this and take it with a grain of salt. From the National Enquirer.
Okay.
How to deal with a bad boss. It says, thinking of quitting your job because your boss is making your life a nightmare? There are several easy steps that you can take to get along with a bad boss, even if the boss is a monster. According to Tag Goulet, CEO of Fab Job, here are Goulet's tips. It says, mimic those who successfully deal with the boss.
That's
They
common
say,
sense.
study the boss and see how to get along with him, and then relate to him by copying the behavior of people he does like.
Yeah.
Next, support your boss. Most bosses want the backup they can get. So especially true for new supervisors fearing losing control or losing face or losing their job. Support the boss, and you're going to probably get along better. Next, stand up for yourself. Supporting your boss is not the same as being a doormat. You got to stand up for yourself, too. Next, it says document the problems. If your boss is being a bully, keep a written record of everything, every incident, whenever possible. Make sure you talk to witnesses, too. It says many companies have a zero-tolerance policy towards harassment or bullying. Look for support from human resources as well. And then the last thing on the list here, again, the headline, How to Deal with a Bad Boss. Guess what the last tip is?
What's that?
Quit. What?
Well, that's one way to do it.
It says if your situation does not improve, you may have to look for another job. The worst thing you can do is nothing and sacrifice your health and self-esteem. So they're saying when all else fails, maybe you just quit. Again, these are from the CEO of Fab Job, and his name is Tag Goulet, but it's from the National Enquirer. So I don't know what to think now. All right, how to deal with a bad boss. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.
Hey, this is Tim from Hope and Faith Machine Works. Are you having one of these days?
How in the world am I going to do that?
Or even,
If I could just have this.
My life would be so much easier.
Well, this kind of stuff is my specialty. At Hope and Faith Machine Works, we work with anyone who needs something built, fabricated, or just done right. We've done medical, industrial, PLC, and prototype designs. You can reach us at yourhopeourfaith.com. That's yourhopeourfaith.com.
An 11-year-old girl thought that a washing machine would be the greatest place for a game of hide and seek, and that is until she got stuck in there for over 90 minutes.
Yikes.
She was playing with her brother and some friends, and she crawled into a machine, and she got jammed in there with her legs and got wrapped around the agitator, and she wedged her back against the tub. Her mom first called a repairman. He gave up after an hour of trying to get her out. They had to call the firefighters, who had to cut the kid loose with the jaws of life. So the machine was not on. I want to make sure you understand that. It was an empty washing machine.
She just couldn't get her legs
She was
untangled.
11 years old. She got in, kind of sat with her legs wrapped around the agitator, and she got stuck in there.
Man.
The repairman couldn't get her out. They had to use the jaws of life to destroy the washing machine to get her out of there. So, kids, if
You'd think at 11 you'd know better.
you'd think, if you're playing hide and seek, don't hide in places like that.
John and Heidi.
Sean Morton, founder of the Prophecy Research Institute of California, has recently produced an audio tape that has nothing but high-pitched sounds on it. According to Morton, he did so to keep aliens away. Yeah. Since aliens function on a relatively simple 3-level energy system, everybody knows that, this overloads their nervous system. So far, so good. He hasn't had any aliens come up with him since he came up with this theory. So there you go. The Prophecy Research Institute in California, they came up with a way to keep aliens away, Heidi.
There you go. That's awesome.
And they'll sell you these tapes if you want to buy them to keep aliens away from you, too.
Proven to work. Proven effective.
Here's the thing this guy's either an idiot or he's a genius, one or the other, because there are people that are buying these tapes and people are using these and they're like, oh, I haven't been abducted by aliens ever since I got these tapes. Well, did you get abducted a lot before you got the tapes? All right. And if you've been abducted by an alien, I'm not trying to make light of that because I know there are people who probably really have had things happen, but I think there are a lot of people that they don't know exactly what happened and they go, well, it must have been that. Yeah, either that or you were just drunk and passed out, Dad. That could be. You've blacked out from tequila before, All right, coming up, going to talk about some ways to save a little cash. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
This has been quite an election so far, and we've got a long ways to go. Stay informed at politicalstorm.com. It's a cool site with political news and information on the campaigns, plus a place to chime in and have a say in what you think. If you're into politics, you need to check out politicalstorm.com. Get informed from several different sources all in one place. Listen to podcasts like mine and learn about current election topics, read fun editorials, and engage your brain. It's your country. It's your vote. It's your voice. Politicalstorm.com. That's politicalstorm.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. A lot of folks right now have kids that are home for the summer. And if you want to find ways to save a little cash on your energy bill, this right here is something that I would have never thought of, but believe it or not, it makes a big difference on the energy bill. They say, turn off the game console between plays. According to a recent study, almost 70% of overall power draws from the world's consoles come while the machine is sitting idle. So 70% of your game's energy loss happens when you're not even playing the game. That translates to about $1 billion wasted in power every single year.
That's crazy.
So they're saying while you're not using the game, don't just turn it off and let it just sit there and hibernate because that's using up energy. Turn it off completely. Unplug it. Make it so it's not on at all. And that'll save about 70% on the power because that's a ton of electricity that's being used when the game is not even being used. Now, we don't have any game consoles at our house. But I wonder if that holds true with other things, too.
VCRs, DVD players.
I noticed something that you had done the other day. I went to use my coffee pot, and it was unplugged.
I didn't unplug it.
Well, whoever did it, I was thinking, at first I was like, why did you unplug this? And I was like, I guess it doesn't really matter. Because when I plug it in and I turn it on, it's not like it needed to warm up or anything. It didn't take any extra time for me to make coffee. We never have the clock set on that thing anyway. We should just put a sticker over that.
Right.
It just flashes noon all the time. But when I plugged it in, I was thinking, well, you know what? That wasn't so tough. So if you have a lot of things that are plugged in that you're not using, and if you unplug them, if that's saving electricity, why wouldn't you want to do that? because when you save electricity, you're also saving money. It's a good idea. All right, we've got some good news on the way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap this program up with some good news, and I think I've got some good news here. It says when Roger Leggett's granddaughter, Felicity, was diagnosed with a brain tumor in 2011, he was devastated. While at the hospital, they saw the struggles of moving sick patients from one point to the next. It's difficult. In response, Roger proposed moving kids around in a wagon with an IV pole attached.
Oh.
And his former colleagues at Lockheed Martin, yeah, that's where he worked. He's a smart guy. He's an engineer. His former colleagues at Lockheed Martin, they stepped up to help him, and they built some red wagons for use at children's hospitals in Atlanta. These wagons now have become so popular that they're now at more than 140. They're in 8 states, and there's more than 140 of these wagons that are out there in children's hospitals, with one wagon going as far away as Scotland.
Wow.
So this is really cool. It was when he was in the hospital with his granddaughter. She had a brain tumor in 2011. He saw how they were struggling to get these kids moved from place to place, and they came up with this idea to build these neat little red wagons that the kids wouldn't be afraid of, because now it's like, hey, I get to ride in a wagon.
I'm going to ride in a wagon. That's cute.
So it is very cool.
It's a great idea.
I have a link to this story on our Facebook page if you'd like to read it. That is at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great weekend. I appreciate you tuning in to the John and Heidi Show, Weekend Edition. Thanks for listening.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Going to have a really quick bonus break today, Heidi. These are some of the fun facts that we didn't get to this week. I've been saving them, so and there's not as many as I thought I would have. I thought I'd have a ton of them, but bonus break brought to you by WinThisOnline.com, where the winning is just the beginning. Go sign up, see if we can make you a winner. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
An aircraft carrier gets terrible gas mileage, about 6 inches per gallon of fuel.
Really?
So it's not miles per gallon, it's inches per gallon.
Not great.
6 inches per gallon of fuel.
But if you divide that by the number of passengers, I'm sure it's much better.
Yeah, that's true. That's an aircraft carrier. Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
Oh, an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, an
Oh.
aircraft. That's the giant thing that
But
all...
even still, all the people on
Yeah,
there, and
all the
it's
people-
for national defense.
Yeah,
so
and it's loaded
worth
up
every
with...
penny.
Yeah. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Martial arts expert Bruce Lee loved to read. He had his own personal library with hundreds of books.
Why would anybody assume he didn't like to read?
I don't know. I just think it's cool. I didn't know that he was an avid reader, that he had hundreds of books in his own private library. That's cool. Fun fact for you, Heidi. The Gobi Desert is about 499,000 square miles. That's a big desert. And it's just fun to say, the Gobi Desert. Doesn't it sound like if there was a thing that was called a Gobi, wouldn't it be delicious?
It would.
I'm like, oh, this is so good. What you eating over there? It's a Gobi. It's my Gobi dessert. It's kind of like Gobi Desert. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Under National Shuffleboard Association rules, a regulation-sized shuffleboard disc is 6 inches in diameter.
That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy? 6 inches. And our final fun fact for you,
What's
Heidi.
that, John?
Did you know that the ruby red slippers worn in the movie The Wizard of Oz are size 6B?
No.
Yeah, that's the size. Now you do. See? Now you know. Size 6B.
All right.
So a couple of fun facts for you right here on the John and Heidi Show Weekend Edition. And that was our bonus break brought to you by our good friends at WinThisOnline.com, where the winning is just the beginning.